All right, we've been working with plotting points, working with linear functions, and finding slope. And the whole idea, the whole reason we've been doing this is so that we can easily and quickly graph linear functions. Today, many of you were working on some classwork from last week where you were given a problem like this. And Mac had a great question. He said, is there any easier way to do this than making a chart and plugging in numbers? Diego was figuring out good numbers to use would be numbers that go into 4 evenly. So maybe not 2 actually, now that I've written that out. Let's change that to a -8 here and a -4 here, and a -4 or +4 here and an 8 here. And Diego was working on this, Mac, you were working on this, and you guys were saying, man, this is going to take forever. And yeah, it was kind of cumbersome, right? I'll do this quickly. -6 plus 2, that's -4. Plug in -4, and we get -3 plus 2. That's -1. I'm not doing it as quickly as I want. That's 2. Here I think we end up getting 5, 3 plus 2. And here we end up getting 6 plus 2, which is 8. And so we'd plot those points. And we'd say, okay, back 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we would go back 4, down 1, and then 0, 2, and then 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, up from there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 3 more here. And you may have caught it right there. How can we do this more quickly or easier? Well, if you look here, up 3 over 4. Up 3 over 4. Up 3 over 4. Up 3 over 4. That relationship of slope, change in y over change in x, will hold for all of those points. You can start to see I'm going up 3 here. I'm going up 4 here. 3 over 4, 3 over 4. And can you see that here with the slope? It's right in front of x. Now this point right here is where that line crosses the y-intercept, and that's over here. It's the number 2. And remember, the y-intercept, or maybe you don't remember if you haven't heard this before, I haven't said it yet, so the y-intercept is the value of y when x is 0. When you make x 0, you just get this number here. So the whole point, everything we've been doing so far in this unit is leading up to this next big idea. And that next big idea is the following. That if you have an equation that looks like this, y equals some number times x plus some other number, then that number that's in front of x is actually going to be the slope, and this number out here by itself is the y-intercept. And this form of a line is called the slope-intercept form. It's called slope-intercept because it gives you the slope and it gives you the intercept. We're not that creative as mathematicians, so we have m is slope. B in this formula is the y-intercept. So any form of a line where it's y equals, if you solve for y, you get the slope and you get the y-intercept. I should maybe circle this in red. Slope, y-intercept. So how do we put this together? So if I told you the slope of a line was -1/4 and the y-intercept was 2, You could go to the y-intercept of 0, 2 and go down 1 over 4, or you could go up 1 and backwards 4, and you've graphed that line. That's it. That's all we're doing. So try another problem on the same graph if you have it. I'm going to tell you the slope is equal to 5 over 3 and the y-intercept is negative 1. Okay, so you go down to the y-intercept of negative 1. You go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and over 3. And you can go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and backwards 3. You want to be able to move both directions, to the right and to the left. Take a look at the slope of both lines. The original line that I graphed, this is a negative 1, this is a positive 4. Rise over run. This is another way to think of it. This is a positive 1, but this is a backwards 4. Up 1, back 4. So up 1, backwards 4 is the same as down 1 to the right 4. If we look at this line, up 5 over 3. You could also go from this point, down 5, backwards 3. Negative 5 over negative 3 is the same as positive 5 over positive 3. The other thing, and I don't talk about this much, is up 10 over 6 would also work, because 10 over 6 reduces to 5 over 3. In the other problem, we could have gone down 2 and over 8, because down 2 divided by 8 would also equal negative 1/4. Let's try another example. This time, I'm going to give you a little different information. This time, I'm going to tell you that this is the picture of the line. See if you can figure out the equation of the line from that picture. And I think I got it there. Yeah. So I tried to hit these points exactly. So finding the equation of a line from the picture. First, figure out the y-intercept. What's the y-intercept? I hope you said 3. Next, figure out the slope. Down 1 over 3. Down 1 over 3. Down 1 over 3. Now we have our slope. Remember, we're talking about slope-intercept form. All you need to do now is plug in the information. It's a positive 3 or plus 3 because this is a positive 3. It's a negative 1/3 because the slope is going down as you move left to right. That's always one way to check. This is a positive slope. This is a negative slope. This is a 0 slope if it's horizontal. That was pretty good. This is an undefined slope if it's vertical. So now try another one, a little bit more difficult. This time I'm going to tell you y is equal to 2/3 x minus 4. When you get a problem like this, if it's solved for y, you know the number in front of x is the slope. You know the number at the end is the y-intercept, which we call b. Because it's a minus 4, think of the y-intercept as being negative 4. Then use the slope of 2/3 to find more points. Up 2 over 3. Down 2, back 3. And now connect those points with the line. You need at least 2 points. You will lose credit on a quiz or test if you don't have 2 points. But right now, I want you to generate a few. It doesn't take too long, and I want to make sure that you're getting the right line. I want you to practice generating those points. Try this one on your own. Pause the video, and then we'll go over it together. All right, y equals negative 5/2 x plus 1. Write down the slope, write down the y-intercept, and then graph the function. Okay, if I was doing this, I would start by writing down the slope, -5/2. Then I'd write down the y-intercept, +1. I would then go to the y-intercept and draw a little dot at 0, 1. The y-intercept, I should just stress, will always be the point 0, b. So the x-coordinate's always 0. It's called the y-intercept because it's where the line intersects the y-axis. Now using the slope from here, down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over 2. Or up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that way too. +5, -2, or -5, +2. Either way, that line has a slope going down from left to right, and I can draw arrows there. Good? The last example, well, there's two more examples I want to show you. An easy one, y equals 3x plus 1. A lot of kids, we haven't done one like this where the slope is just a number 3 and then we get the y-intercept is equal to 1. Make 3 a fraction by calling it 3 over 1. That might help you see that the y-intercept is 1 and then a slope of 3 would be up 3 over 1. Or down 3, back 1. Down 3, back 1. Just kind of reminding yourself how to make a whole number look like a fraction by putting it over 1 can help you use that slope. That's a pretty easy example. A little more complicated is when you get a problem like this. 3x plus 4y equals 12. This is not in slope-intercept form. 3 is not the slope. 12 is not the y-intercept. Slope-intercept form, we have to have y by itself. So take a problem like this, and your first step is solve for y. So I'm going to take 3x plus 4y and set that equal to 12. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Both sides of the equal sign. I get 4y equals, I'm going to put the x term first only so it's ready to be in that form of y equals mx plus b. Again, -3 is not the slope, 12 is not the y-intercept because we haven't solved for y yet. Now I'm going to divide everything by 4. And I'm going to simplify. Y equals -3/4 x plus 3. Now I can see the slope. Now I can see the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 3. The slope is -3 over 4. Or up 3, back 4. And now I have an equation. Now I have a graph of a line. Because I know its slope and I know its y-intercept. You have to solve for y. Get y by itself to use the method we've been talking about in this video. Do your best on the classwork tomorrow. Call me if you need help or call me over if you need help. I'm going to be there. But this is it. We're just working with y equals mx plus b form. You're going to see things that you've seen all through this video. I give you the slope and y-intercept and you graph it. I give you a line and you find the equation of the line. You will also see things that look like y equals mx plus b where you graph and things that look like this where it's not y equals mx plus b but it's a lot of numbers and you have to solve for y first. Alright, have a good night. Thanks for watching the video. Peace.